Hi dear friends, welcome to my channel. It's Aksharadhari by Devraj. Today is sixth video, sixth class I'm going to update and also I'm going to start. So let me start the today's session, that is newspaper reading, and it's about how to improve our communication just by reading the newspaper in the next 30 days. So along with the newspaper, you have to do something which is very useful for you guys to improve the communication and also writing skills. So let me start the session. Yes, welcome to Aksharadhari. Let me open the newspaper. Today newspaper, the Hindu, which is very important for the competitive exams and for all central and state exams. So let me start the newspaper reading. Let me open Bangalore edition. So this is 19th April. So welcome to Aksharadhari. Yes, now it is completely visible. I hope yes. This is the head page, front page, which is in. I pray to her, seeking prosperity to all, presenting my humble prayers and seeking the benevolent blessings of Kuber Lakshmi to show an abundant grace and fill all homes with plentiful gold, diamond, silver, and all round prosperity. The jewelry presents. This is first main page. MGNREG, yes, deadline moved to June 30. India must not open up for foreign carriers. The future of civil society organizations in political scene, a case for collaborative efforts. Same-sex union has to see if special marriage act can be deemed gender neutral. There is no absolute concept of a man or an absolute concept of a woman at all. A man or a woman is not a definition of what their genital are. Genitals are. It is far more complex. Even when the Special Marriage Act says man and woman, the very notion of a man and a woman is not an absolute on what genitals you have. The Supreme Court on Tuesday cut short the Indian government value judgment that the genitals decided whether a person was a man or a man, saying there was no absolute concept of a man or an absolute concept of a man, and that gender was far more complex than one's genitals. A constitution bench headed by Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud was responding to the center's argument that laws, including the Special Marriage Act, recognized only heterosexual marriages between a biological man and a biological woman. Senior advocate Mukul Rohtagi leading the arguments for the petitioners who are seeking legal recognition of same-sex marriages through a broader reading of the Special Marriage Act by interpreting it as gender neutral, said the petitions were not delving into the personal laws of the religions, but only seeking a wider interpretation of the act to include same-sex marriages. The court said it was proceeding on an incremental canvas in the case. Incremental changes in issues of societal ramifications is a better course to take. We will not step into personal laws. We will only examine if this special marriage act can be interpreted in a manner to make it gender neutral. Period. Justice S.K. Called Hanji Ben said. Let me read in on the next 10th page. So, what was it? As a detailed report about the same-sex marriage. It's a Bilkinis today. It can be anybody tomorrow. Says he. What were the standards you applied for the remission? Justice K. M. Joseph asks the center and Gujarat, who has refused to submit files on the remission of 11th convicts in gang rape and murder case. India Russia agreed to deepen trade and economic relations. Congress beats Savanu against Burma in Shiggaon. Empowering students for a brighter future. And NA takes Kojikoda train as some kids invokes UAPA section in the FIR. Let's go to the next page. Shelter trains guns on Santosh. Claim 181 people from Karnataka stuck in Sudan amid shortage of food, water. Commissioner for Karnataka State Disaster Management Authority says they are touch with the Ministry of External Affairs. Over 30 persons from Karnataka are stuck in the city of El Fasher in Sudan. They are living in fear after clashes between government forces. VTU postpones first semester engineering exams to April 27. K reports strong passenger growth during financial year 2022 to 23. 2-year-old drowns in pit dug by BWSSB. District Election Officer, Bangalore District Chief Commissioner and Chief Commissioner, BPM General Elections to Legislative Assembly. Strict action will be taken against non-sub officers personnel assigned for election duties. Once paused to dash from a fourth floor of apartment. Case I see Mysore silk sarees. Let us read this. Why 34-year-old woman was found dead after she fell from the fourth floor of the apartment in Putinali on Tuesday morning. Since heard a sound and came out to see Sonu Singh lying dead outside her apartment. The Putinali police rushed to the spot and shifted the body for the post-mortem. A probe revealed that Mr. Sonu Singh was arrested for allegedly murdering her stepmother in 2018. She was remanded in judicial custody and was later out on bail. The report suspected to be a case of suicide. The Putinali police have registered a case of unnatural death. Need to tweak procedural laws to proceed pendency. Residents and a mosque committee complained against Ramchan Food Mela. Bengaluru records 36.5 degrees Celsius. Wow. So to launch Singapore's Telios 2 satellite on April 2nd. Strokes for change murals by transwomen on voter awareness Don CEO's office. Priya Krishna. Many vehicles BR 9279 as registration number. A total declared assets of 1,156 crore. The former Congress solicitor from Govinda Rajanagara is among the richest candidates in the fray for May 10 assembly elections. Ashok files papers from Kanakapura. Says he is Modi's messenger. Opportunities. Job scam. Man loses 223.7 lakh. Let Guys, remember this kind of job opportunities and stay away from these. So you can see in the news, yeah, this man loses to 23.7 lakh rupees just for jobs. The cybercrime police are on the lookout for a gang which lured a 26-year-old private firm employee with a private part-time online job offer and made away with 23.7 lakh. Beside on a complaint by Narendra T.S., a resident of Ayasargata, the police are trying to track down the accused through their Telegram account. Mr. Narendra in his complaint said that the accused had approached him offering a part-time online job for the lucrative package. It is a new modus operandi of cyber frauds. A police officer said the police have requested people not to entertain and respond to part-time job advertisements on social media. Shetter trans guns on Santosh. Finns blame on him for Daniela Portugal. Shobha's proposal. Will Shetter's ideology change with party? Nadda asks workers to remain united. Ramadas pledges to continue as ordinary BJP worker. Khanda resigns from assembly. Congress fields Savanuru against Bombay. Kumarasamy denies any plan to contest from Mandya constituency. Kota issue Khanda seeks time to file response to plea. Over 13 crore seized in 24 hours. Election Commission has seized 13.06 crore in the last 24 hours. With this, the total seizure was since March 29 when the model code of conduct for the assembly elections came into force in Karnataka. Has touched a 187.17 crore. This includes the cash, liquor, drugs, and precious metals, according to a press release. Delay in bills, Pinarayi starting to fight together. Tamil Nadu and Kerala chief ministers make common political cause over a gubernatorial delay in giving assent to bills passed by their respective state legislatures. Pinarayi says denying assent to bills passed by elected state assemblies is tantamount to negotiating and negating people's democratic rights. Transmission project. Karnataka gets a breather from CEC. Then this is the editorial page, guys, and the future of India's civil society organizations. Mission Rajasthan Congress needs to put its house in the heart to beat back the BJP. The message by the planners in dealing with the dragon tragic failure. Governments must prepare people to deal with the extreme weather events. Let me start the editorial page, which is very important for the point of examination. Pushparaj Deshpande is the director of the Samruddhabad Foundation, a multi-party platform that futures India's constitutional promise. He is also the series editor of the Rethinking of India series. The Bharatiya Janata Party government's systematic subjugation of civil society over the last 9 years has ensured that most governments no longer listen to civil society organizations or movements, either in the pre-legislative stage or in the leaders of Lecania in the implementation of government schemes. Given that advocacy is effectively dead, the ability of civil society to shape policy and public discourse has shrunk drastically because civil society is sent to be the new frontier for war and foreign interference. There has been a systematic clampdown on CSO, lobbying for greater constitutional and civic freedoms. Therefore, activists, journalists, academics, and students have been targeted by a plethora of the state's governing instruments and non-state actors who have resorted to violence and abuse, online and offline. This has been further exacerbated by restricting the access of CSOs to resources, including cancelling foreign contributions regulations, act clearances, revoking 12A Part 80G licenses, imposing a retrospective taxes, and pressuring private companies and philanthropists to redirect funding. because the BJP government has conceptualized because development has the furtherance of large projects rather than citizens' well-being. Civil society is being verified as disruptive to India's development trajectory and therefore anti-national. This portends a grave threat to the system's integrity because civil society is an indispensable safety valve for tensions in a polity. Drastic structural adjustment. All this has been coupled with the BJP spearheading a structural adjustment of India's civil society landscape by positioning many institutions from the Sangh Parivar. The BJP is posturing a new civil society for India apart from being the primary recipient of government patronage. The Sangh's SCSOs are also the principal beneficiary of corporate social responsibility funds, whether this is as a quid pro quo for clearances, licenses, exemptions by BJP governments are through blatant question is anybody's guess. Moreover, these Sangha institutions have access to and influence over select departments in state governments, primarily education, culture, personnel, as well as Dalit and Adivasi welfare. Apart from the profound pragmatic implications, this has activities related to the welfare of women, Dalits, Adivasi students, human rights and freedoms are increasingly shaped by the Sangha's ideological imperatives. This has also altered the civil society landscape in India. All other CSOs or movements are all slowly being circumscribed as a result of the financial and political clout that Sangh CSOs can muster. That this NGO has not fully succeeded so far is testament to the legitimacy that India's CSOs are movements still enjoy among Indians. However, while most civil society actors are aware of the existential threat they face, they have not displayed nimbleness in reorienting their normative and operational methodologies. They still cling to outdated tactics whose overall utility is fast diminishing. Sanctioned and therefore sanitized. Press the at Jantar Mantar in New Delhi, Town Hall in Bengaluru, or Ajad Maidan in Mumbai are undoubtedly cathartic to the constituency that activists influence and keep the bloc together, but they do not do nothing to shape the thinking or action of BJP governments. Similarly, articles or papers, speeches at think tanks, conferences, symposiums, and petitions, open letters to do not shame governments to into any substantive course correction. Even lobbying legislators to raise the issues in effective the Union government either do not let parliament function or ignores uncomfortable issues. Additionally, progressive CSOs fail to blend socio-cultural values will- which welfare constructive with welfare or constructive work are caused to protect constitutional values. Consequently, they are unable to reshape hearts and minds and thereby guide mass consciousness. Given the vast sections of society have been radicalized, highlighted in the 2017 study by the Center for the Study of Developing Societies and Conrad Hardin US Tip Tank. This is a major shortcoming of of progressive civil society. Anecdotal evidence from various states says that local communities instrumentally secure benefits from progressive CSOs or movements, but ideological align with the BJP. This dichotomy has resulted in a psychological fatigue among key activists who naturally question for foundational rationale of their work. Realignment is needed. This situation is untenable for various reasons. First, because of the financial and structural constraints imposed on them, CSOs or movements are bleeding conscientious youngsters with who naturally need some financial sustenance. Second, without sustained support, CSOs cannot positively mount public discourse or make a tangible impact on the nation at large. And third, with governments consciously avoiding CSOs or movements, their ability to shape policy is diminished, which adversely impacts organizational morale. It seems unlikely that the BJP government would take any steps to redress these problems. So, what is the way forward for progressive civil society in India? faced with a drastically reduced spectrum of options, some are progressives will migrate to shaper avenues. Others may limit the scope of their work, and still others may even realign with the BJP. The net result is that civil society will unable to speak truth to power, amplify amplify the voices of the most vulnerable and reach policies legislatures through constructive feedback how further the collective good. This is obviously not in the people's or the national interest. We need to collectively forget a plan of action for the sector's future. The one possibility that could emerge is that young activists could be inducted into political parties, either within the party organization or in an aligned party. This could create an institutionalized moral force within the parties which could balance electoral compulsions with ethical human rights considerations. This would afford parties a layered, systematic approach to thorny issues. Currently, many parties consciously avoid direct exposure to kind of difficult issues that could adversely affect them electorally, a real concern because of the ability of the powers that be to manufacture false narratives. This includes communal disturbances, atrocities against Dalits and women, championing the rights of activists fighting for Adivasi rights or civic and political freedoms. In stark contrast, if any aligned civil society organizations took up such issues both within and outside the party organization, it would ensure that a party remains connected to genuine community problems while allowing for a permeable wall of separation. There is a precedent to this when the Congress movement, the Gandhian constructive movement, complemented the Congress system, which has always been an electoral and governance machine. Given the prevailing political climate, CSOs will need to urgently collaborate with others progressive stakeholders, for which they will need to shed their studied aversion to each other and political parties. Some civil society stakeholders would argue against this either because they can continue raising funds and attracting global attention woo and harassed, but those isolated examples do not address the systematic erosion that the sector faces today. In fact, in the near future, the BJP could well resort to using the continued existence of these celebrity activists as proof of their tolerance towards civil society in general. We need to find structural solutions to structural problems. This is our historic responsibility. In that spirit, private philanthropies and companies need to realize that they are the only lifeline for progressive CSOs today, as it is infinitely easier to support organizations that work on soft issues that may not invite the wrath of the powers that do be. It is even easier to look the other way, the but inaction today will directly contribute to the extinction of civil society. Arguably, the fifth pillar of Indian democracy, transcending instrumental exigencies, conscious, conscientious, conscientious Indians must find the courage to work together and silently devise new methods of collaboration. Only through such a principled coalition can we first safeguard and eventually for the constitutional idea of India. Then go to the next a message for planners in dealing with the dragon. China's recent move to allocate names to villages in Arunachal Pradesh is proof that Beijing wants to keep the India-China relations pot simmering just short of a boil. While we have the Chinese foreign minister say that as neighboring countries and major emerging economies, China and India have far more common interests than differences. We also have, besides the naming force, was the denial of visas to some Indian media personals who the Chinese consider to be unhelpful in their reporting. This behavior is nothing but creeping warfare. Perhaps a law the Sun Tzu kind. Sun Tzu wrote that the acme of skill is winning without fighting. Should We then deduce that China is doing just that. A malicious engagement is a surreptitious manner. Are we giving more credence than is due to a Beijing's supposed inclination to follow some Sun Tzu thoughts? Articulations at the People's Congress. A commentary in the U.S. Army's West Point Modern War Institute titled Sun Tzu Trap, the solution of perpetual competition, considers Chinese President Xi Jinping as less of a Sun Tzu follower and cast more in a moist mode, a form that believes in power flowing through the barrel of a gun. And it is here that another recent article in the prestigious Point of View magazine by two noted columnists, John Fomprett, a former Beijing bureau chief of the Washington Post, and Matt Pottinger, former U.S. Deputy National Security Advisor, gained recurrence. The authority authors argued that Xi Jinping should be taken seriously when he says that he is preparing China for war. The article mentions war in relation to Taiwan, but a careful reading would show that Mr. Xi articulations at the National People's Congress in March this year point more towards the larger implications of the thinking at the highest level in the Chinese government. That is the extra exhortation to work together day to fight and be good at fighting and to break out dependence on foreign technologies and to get society to rally behind the People's Liberation Army and to use the thrust towards the unification of the motherland as a stepping stone to making China great again. These statements are unexceptionably noble for any head of governance to make, except that we need to be prepared for the tenor of the proclamations getting converted to kinetic activity, which was our own broader problems with Beijing. Remember, intentions can change overnight. There have been broader talks with China. The 17th installment on December 2022 and the by now usual post-talk statement of working together to maintain peace, peace, such long drawn out negotiations for what appear to be purely tactical positions have a different hue when viewed through a strategic prism. In a lecture in 1986 titled Moral Principles and Strategic Interest, the then US Secretary of State George Shultz, speaking on interlocution for advancing a national interest, said that negotiations are an euphemism for capitulation if the shadow of power is not cast across the bargaining table. He added that for authoritarians, the gun is always on the table and for the side without cards or a hand to play. Negotiations are an illusion. Is there a message in this for new release with oversized sword power preparations in the midst of the meandering talks to meet Beijing's challenge? Defense Committee remarks in the recent past, there has been exhaustive media coverage on arms procurement by our services from domestic players. However, closer scrutiny would show that assets that would carry the war to the adversary are missing from the publicity blitz underway. This has been critically commented on too by the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Defense. In its March 2023 report, the Indian Air Force is a case in point whose deterrent and striking power would be vital in any India China conflict. The committee has commented adversely on the slow production rate of the Tejas fighter by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited and noted the Air Force's need to make up its dwindling squadron numbers through the 114 multi-role fighter aircraft project. Similar observations have been made for hardware procurement for the Indian Army, modernization of 45% equipment, which is in the vintage category, and Indian Navy requirement of the third aircraft carrier. The committee has acknowledged that funds are scarce but has recommended that allocation for defense should be 3% of GDP to maintain India's deterrent posture. What is hard, however, it is the statement of the Defense Secretary responsible for acquisitions and for the defense of India. As per allocation of business rules, who was of the opinion that The current allocation is sufficient. This is indeed a surprising point if it is true. Then why the utter scramble for emergency armament purchases from abroad after a very skirmish on the border? As we enter another election year, the makers are sure to be aware that power talks, and talks decisively. The ongoing 1 year plus Russia Ukraine conflict has shown that power is not just about boasting a capability but also about the capacity to lose the distance to India's acquisition plans must be oriented accordingly. So views are expressed are personal by somebody. So that is the Air Vice Marshal was additional Director General Center for Air Force Studies. Tragic failure. Government must prepare people to deal with extreme weather events. Of course, it's happening. However, it's too hot. A judgment that upholds the Constitution. He's a lawyer at the Supreme Court of India. The AAP's recent U-turn. Say party has changed its strategy to dealing with the Modi as well as the Congress. Pessimism continues to decline, so not as rapidly as before. Trade sanctions against Rhodesia ineffective. Q partners has how is marriage an urban elitist matter. Leave restrictions on same-sex union to parliament, says government. ED attaches Karti's assist estimated at 11 crore. It's a bill keys today. It can be anybody tomorrow. Deadline for Aadhaar based payment under MG and NRG extended till June 30. 231 antiquities brought back to India since 2014. Minister IT Council says zero tolerance for discrimination. Citing Balakot strike, IF chief says IR power want to have more options for leadership. Congress demands white paper on Pulwama attack. The party raises questions on intelligence failure and security lapses. Ask why travel by aircraft was denied to the CRPF jawans. Trinamool leaders Mukul Rai's Delhi visit shrouded in mystery. SCTU on April 24 police seeking a probe into killing of Hajiq Muhammad. Kanga mission clears projects for 638 crore. No mafia can spread terror in UPCSCM. Ajit Pawar denies rumors that he is crossing over to BJP. Request for proposal. What is this? NCP to remain in MBA. Agents of operations Lotus in Karnataka. Number of women MLAs is abysmally low. Bill Santosh has been in charge of polls in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Bengal. I do not understand why the BJP turns him so much. In a first, Sidramaya arrives at his constituency with a grandson. Resurgent Congress looks strong, but the usual scrum for power could spoil its chances. Despite calamities, environment not a poll issue in state. Read some from. This is also a battle of prestige for party chief Mallikarjun Kharge, who hails from Karnataka. Pakistan court jails a Chinese national charged with blasphemy. Italy Minister Pras Box outraged with comment on ethnic replacement. Russia's parliament increases penalty for terrorism. Saudi Minister meets Assad in past visit to Syria since the start of civil war. Anger in Kiev has Putin visits Ukraine frontier regions. Frontline regions. Ukraine terms it a tour of the scenes of Russian crimes. Russian president's visit comes as China's defense minister is in Moscow to demonstrate Beijing's determination to stronger Russia's ties. Sudan's capital hit by blast as conflict enters fourth day. What a sad. Indian climbers rescued from Mount Annapurna. Israeli forces shoot he seven people in West Bank raid. Caught between big paws, Nepal struggles to strike a balance in policy. India China snap up Russian oil in April to above price cap. Post-Bhagavan, India introduced new variants of Trigon. It plans to appeal against WTO ruling on IT tariffs. Motilal Oswal Financial eyes 270 pressures in Mumbai. Tim Cook opens Apple's first India store in Mumbai. Apple CEO Tim Cook reacts after seeing an old Macintosh Classic machine brought by a visitor during the opening of the first Apple Inc. flagship store in India at the Bandra Kurla complex in Mumbai. Mr. Cook opened the doors to the store and personally received customers. Sugar mills output dips to 311 lakh tons this year's season. India must not open floodgates to foreign air carriers. Air India's vision. T mosquito bug affecting production, says UPAISA. Baskin Robbins to have 1,000 followers. It should not go to a stage where Dhoni gets banned. Shehwag. Finalist town on IPL came when we went to South Africa. SAS 3 RCB CSK match breaks live streaming viewership record. Wisdom honor for Suryakumar and Harmanpreet. Green and bowlers passion Mumbai Indians. Win. Australians scored a brilliant half century while Kishan and Tilak came up with a vital contributions. None of the Sunrisers either bowled batters except for Mayank and Klassen get going. Royals return to their fortress to face Giants. Technology can't get too involved with the game. Jamshedpur gets none more than Gokulam in 5 goal apiece. Liverpool runs amok against Leeds, firing in 6 goals. Jayasuriya spins Sri Lanka to victory. Taylor backs one to play WTC final under the Ashes. OGC men and Indian Oil women stay on course. Jyoti equals war record set by Sarah Lopez. In defense of defense, paid right, it can be a sexy shot too. What is this? Is a shot of something? It's a sports text and context. Passenger traffic at Bangalore airport increases in financial year 23. Sugar production declines due to scarcity of sugar canes. India must raise maize output in the next 5 years to meet demand. Chinese consumption boosts GDP growth in the first quarter of 2023. The amount fetched by 300 T-Rex skeletons in an auction. Nagaland's municipal tightrope. How is Nagaland caught between Supreme Court and community-based organizations and reservation of seats to women in local body elections? What are the special provisions granted by Article 371A of the Constitution to Nagaland? Has a local body election ever taken place? Has a local body election ever taken place in the state? What are the latest developments in Yemen? How did a prisoner swap come out about between the two vying sides in Yemen? How many prisoners were released? Was this originally agreed upon in the 2018 Stockholm Agreement? Should a universal screening test be mandated to detect early heart disease? There is no doubt that regular health checkups or screening tests are an important strategy to prevent health disease ailments. The key questions are who should be screened. The key questions are who should be screened, using what test and how often. Two doctors weigh in on the debate around the large scale screening for disease detection. This is very important nowadays. Most of the people are facing the art problems, especially in the younger age. So these you guys have to read this very importantly. Sport, gangster turned politician Atiq Ahmad's son Hassad and his associate Ghulam were killed in an encounter on April 13. He is accused on alleged encounters in India. So thank you so much, guys, and please subscribe to my channel and leave the comment in the comment box. If you guys need to know something about how to learn English very easily in 30 days, next 30 days, please subscribe and comment and leave your details in the comment box. I can really help you out to learn English in the next 30 days without any doubt. So I will sure you could learn if you follow the same tactics, tricks. Thank you so much and see you in the upcoming videos. Bye bye. Take care. Have a great day.